What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the next episode of Max Webster. The first episode, we had Bobby Skinner from Talking Giants. This episode, we will welcome on his co-host and my friend, Justin. How you doing, my guy?
Max, I want to thank you for having me on. It's been a couple weeks of trying to actually get me on here. I mean, you can probably say I have to admit something. Whenever you see me on YouTube, or with Zoom and stuff like that, I actually have a little bit of a filter on. There's a way where you can make yourself look a little bit better on Zoom, where it I don't know, it clears up some blemishes or whatever. But I look terrible right now. I got like a neck beard going on. I can't grow a beard. So what we're talking week after free agency. I hate timestamping episodes. I'm doing it right here. This is the week after free agency beard, and I'm tired, and it's bad. It's bad. We were talking before the show. I'm working 2 jobs, and I do the Talking Giants stuff, and then I have my day job. It's tough. I just graduated college, so I'm getting into that world. So thank you for having me on. I want to give you a plug to start. Instead of me complaining about my life, I want to give you a plug to start. Because Max, when you started the show, Mic'd Up with Max Webster, you wanted to have a Giants podcast, but you asked yourself a question that took me a year. It took me a year to ask this question to myself, and sometimes it takes people years to ask themselves this question. But so I'm lucky where I asked myself this question a year in. What can I do that's different from everybody else? There's so many YouTube channels, there's so many podcasts, there's so many Twitter personalities, there's so many Instagram personalities, but a lot of the people, and even though some of them may be successful in their own way, a lot of people are very similar in their own right. You ask yourself, what can I do to be different before you even picked up a microphone, before you even recorded an episode? And this idea is something that, honestly, something that I think I would maybe even like to do myself when I go full time. That's my goal one day. I want to go full time with the media. I want to go full time with John Boy Media, talking Giants and talking football eventually. This is a creative outlet. This is not just like a show that you can do. This is just a creative outlet to talk to like some really awesome people, and you're an awesome dude too. So thank you for having me on. This is like an awesome thing that you have going on, and I'm honored to be a part of it in some of the first episodes for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it, man. And like you said, I wanted to start a New York Giants channel. But yeah, it wasn't that I didn't want to come here and talk about the Giants. I love the Giants. I love talking about the Giants. But I felt like this was just something that was missing, right? Like Joe Rogan, he has kind of a podcast where he has all these famous people on to talk about random topics, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of took a little bit of inspiration from what he's got going on, of course. But I always, I feel more connected with people that I watch when I know what they're like, right? So, It's like acting, right? You come on here, and I'm sure when you're recording Talking Giants, you're not talking the way you would normally talk. You don't say the things that you would normally say sometimes because it's going to be monetized, or you're talking in a specific genre. So you feel like maybe tied to say certain things and give certain opinions. But yeah, it's something I wanted to create so that people who watch this, or watch you guys even more importantly, can get to know you a little bit better, but ultimately because it was an interest that I had, and I thought that was more important, because one thing that I was always told growing up, right, and not that this is my job right now, I'm not anywhere near that point yet, maybe I can get there someday, that'd be awesome, but one thing I was always told growing up was, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And so that's the reason, I wanted to create something that I knew I would love to create, enjoy creating. That way, even if, this doesn't take off anywhere, I'm having fun making episodes. I also want to take this time to talk to the people who listen to my podcast episodes. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed every episode so far. I've been gone the last 2 weeks. Life has been crazy. If you notice, I'm in a different environment here. Kind of been back and forth between places, but I got my setup going right now. Hopefully we can continue the episodes rolling every week, but I want to take this time to thank everybody who watches. I greatly appreciate all your support. But Justin, let's go ahead and hop into the podcast episode. What do you think?
I'm ready. Let's rock.
All right. So obviously we know a little bit about Talking Giants because Bobby was on here before, but let's talk about your perspective of the podcast. And correct me if I'm wrong, you weren't involved from the start of the podcast, correct? you
No.
joined later on. So
Mhm.
if you want, talk about that too. So talk about where people can find you, and then how you became part of Talking Giants and how that process went down.
Yeah, so how I started, how I picked up the microphone. Fun fact: this is the same. It's not the same exact microphone. It's just the same type of microphone. I've broken a few of these. But this same type of microphone is the how I picked up this microphone metaphorically, was in 2018. That's when I had like my first official podcast episode. But before that, in 2017. I really got back into the Yankees. The Yankees were really fun. Gary Sanchez's summer of 2016, then the season of 2017, they started to be really fun again. So then I was in college and I went to school in Philadelphia. So it's not like I was home with all of my friends, and it's not like I was, going to high school in Jersey City. I went to St. Peter's Prep in Jersey City, and that's actually where I work right now. So it's not like I was home and I was with, your boys, your buddies. You can go to a game, you can watch the game at home, you can just talk. My grandfather was a big Yankee fan, so it's not like I could just readily talk to him every day.
Right.
So I just like, what is a podcast? What is a podcast? Let me look it up. I had Twitter for a long time. I never used it for anything besides just scrolling. Maybe I would go on it once every couple days. I never really got I never really got the significance of Twitter.
Right.
So then
I
I
still don't,
found,
honestly.
no, you're geez, you're well, how many, let's do a quick little study here. How many tweets in am I? I'm 24,000 tweets in now. And just 3 years ago, I never really understood the concept of Twitter and what the big deal was. So, but then, I'm away and I'm kind of back, I'm back into the Yankees, and I don't even have the Yankees on TV. I never had cable in college, and I made sure like that was like a priority. Like, I don't want TV. Like, just give me the computer, YouTube, and everything like that. I'll watch everything through there. So I found John Boy, which this was before John Boy Media. John Boy and Jake, John Boy and Talking Jake. They had
Yeah.
the Talking Yanks podcast, Talking Yanks. They actually just debuted their in front of Yankee Stadium on a huge billboard. They just debuted that today. So you get off the 4 train in the Bronx and you look up and there they are, Talking Yanks. There's a big billboard advertisement. So I mean, that's a great job by the sales team there.
Yeah.
So I listened to them and I was hooked. I was just right in because they're genuine, authentic guys. And I feel a lot of the people that you've interviewed, I feel like Bobby and myself, part of the reason why the people that are successful in the Giants world and the Giants content creating land, it's because they're authentic and they're genuine. And
Right.
they're really, sometimes, Max, you were saying, well, maybe sometimes you'll say certain things that you say on air that you won't say off air, or vice versa.
Right.
I find a lot of the time, no, like Bobby's a crazy Florida man. He's a crazy Florida man when he's on air, when he's behind a microphone, when he's behind camera. He's a crazy Florida man when he gets off.
Right.
Me, I'm a goofball. I'm an idiot, and I'm a guy that just likes to ramble on and on and on, as YouTube and Reddit comments love to really point out sometimes. So, but I got hooked on the John Boy, Jake, and Talking Yanks, and I got really back into the Yankees, and they were a big part of it. So then, over the offseason of the 2017 offseason, I left a voicemail. John Boy commented on my overall tone and presence as a caller. And when he complimented me on like my question, like I was really hooked. I'm like,
Right.
I'm in this community. I felt recognized by somebody else who I kind of look up to, who I listen to. I've never seen him before. I've never really, shaken his hand before, but I'm in. Like, I feel like I'm a part of the community.
Right.
So then it was from that point where, I'm thinking to myself, I feel like I can talk well. I feel like I can present well. I feel like I can present myself well. Let me build up to starting my own show, starting my own podcast. So that was, latter part of 2017. And then by the time of June of 2018, which this is also what I tell newer content creators, and I have to tell Bobby this too. Bobby loves to rush into things. You cannot rush into things. You cannot rush into content, especially new content. If it's content that you're used to, of course, rush into it, go, and it's what you're comfortable with, what you're working with. But if it's something that's new, and if it's something that's foreign to you, do not rush it, especially if you think it's a good idea. You want to form it, you want to craft it, because this is an affirmation driven business. You want that affirmation. You want whether it's likes, comments, even if it's just one person saying they enjoyed it. This is an affirmation driven business, and if you don't get that, especially when you put something new that's out without some sort of plan, then it's tough to really keep it up. So I really formed and I really crafted it, thinking about what I wanted to look like. And then I launched a show called Bleeding Blue. Bleeding Blue, and it initially was a Yankees and a Giants podcast. Um, it was mostly a Yankees podcast for the first like 40 episodes, and then I bring on David Powis, who I went to school with at St. Joe's University. We do the 2018 season. Every single week was a debate about Eli Manning. He was pro Eli Manning. I was anti Eli Manning, saying we need to move on from this guy. This guy's, Eli stinks towards the latter part of his career. I love Eli Manning. I have his jersey behind him. Don't tell me I don't like Eli Manning. I love him. But I feel like Giants fans were doing a disservice for how good he was pre 2015. By defending him in 2018. That was always my stance. So neither here nor there. Every week was a debate about Eli Manning. And I was just having a podcast. I was just doing episodes once or twice a week. I think at that point it was just once a week. I was working in DC. I was working in DC for a governmental agency called the Corrections Inspection. What was it? The CIC, the Corrections Inspection. I forget what they're called. This is how it's only 2 years ago, but that's how long and away I am from criminal justice. I was a criminal justice major at St. Joe's. That's how long and away I am from it. The CIC.
Well, I know you're in the podcasting business now. Any plans to? You said you have 2 jobs. Are you doing anything with the criminal justice right now?
Nothing.
Nothing with criminal justice.
No, because I'm working at my old high school, and what I'm basically doing there is I'm just helping out with in the room with kids who have IEP plans and 504 plans. It's like a resource room, which I love. It's a private school that has like that kind of center that's solely dedicated to kids with 504 plans, IEP plans, like learning plans. Which I went there as a student. I went in the center. I didn't really need an IEP, so it was stemming from elementary school. Because believe it or not, Max, this is even a fun. I'm jumping all over the place. This is even a fun fact about me. I didn't talk for like the first 3 years of my life. I'm making up for lost time. So my sister has autism.
Oh, okay.
My sister. I've never said that publicly. My sister has autism. And
is she older or younger?
She's older.
Okay.
So my mother was pregnant with me when she found out about my sister. So imagine the fear that really ran. And also this was like the late 90s, so there wasn't as much awareness as there is now, autism awareness, no pun intended. So I didn't talk for like the first 3 years of my life. So they were worried about like, oh, does Justin also have something developmentally, wrong with him? Is he challenged in some sort of way? No. I was just making now I'm making up for lost time. That's why that's why I'm a podcaster. That's why I get behind the microphone. So Bleeding Blue, joined it with David Powis, did episodes 2018, and there was no growth in 2018. There was just zero growth. I did some interviews. We interviewed Dan Schneier. We actually interviewed John Boy early on in the show, and I'm thinking, interviewing these guys, it's gonna give you a big bump. It's gonna give me a big bump. You're gonna get the retweet, and people are gonna listen to it. And that's not necessarily the case. Just because somebody maybe gives you a retweet and says, "Oh, I was on this show. These guys are awesome. You should check them out," doesn't mean that people will check it out. Because how content works is people aren't just going to click on your show because you're Justin Penik. And that's, in 2018 when, I had, maybe 100 Twitter followers, new people weren't going to click on my show just because, oh, this looks interesting. That's not how this unfortunately works. So I asked myself at the end of the season, what do I have to do? If this is really going to work, which I am enjoying it, but I do want a little bit of affirmation. I want to make this a little bit more worthwhile. So I started posting more on social media, utilizing videos. People love videos. People love highlights. People love big plays, short videos, not necessarily long videos. People hate podcast clips. That is one thing that I've learned.
Really?
Maybe. Oh yeah.
Because I've thought about like taking these episodes and like clipping it down into like some important moments, and just putting them on the channel. That way, if someone wants, that way if someone doesn't want to sit here and watch an hour and a half long episode, they can see some highlights here and there.
Now, here's why it's helpful for you. And now this is at least in my opinion. It's helpful for you because you are always bringing on good people versus the average content creator. Like, for example, me in the early days of Bleeding Blue, I wasn't bringing on exciting interviews every episode. And also, as a show that is centered around like the current Giants, like the current news of the Giants,
Right.
you want like I want to be the brand. Me and my co-host, we want to be the brand. We
Right.
don't want to have to rely on if that's the kind of show that we want to have, we don't want to have to rely on bringing other people on to get the engagement and to get the eyes on the show. So we are the brand, we are the show. Like we are Bleeding Blue. Bobby and I are Talking Giants. We want people to click on, not because there's Rich Soybert on, there's Jordan Ron on, which that does happen, but we want people to click on to say, I love Bobby and Justin, and they interviewed Rich Soybert. They interviewed Jordan Ronan. They interviewed LPG. So that's what you want in terms of those interviews. But
Right.
on an everyday basis, you want people to click on your show, click on your video, because you are the brand and people are invested in you. So that's ultimately what it's a humbling process. It really is a humbling process of, I have to convince people to click on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, because who am I? I'm nobody. I am nobody. Bobby Skinner's nobody. My co-host at the time, David Powis, we were nobody. We are nobody.
Right.
It's how do we convince people to click on the product that we're putting out, and that's the work that we did in social media. So 2019 was really awesome, and then that's where Bobby Skinner kind of noticed the work that I was doing. I was a junior and a senior at St. Joe's. I was so I was in DC when I working a job there, and I can't believe I forget what the name of the governmental agency is. I'm gonna be really mad at myself. So I worked there. I went back to St. Joe's, continued to make content, continued to do more and more and more. During the summer of my junior year, heading into my senior year, I was at the Philadelphia District Attorney's office working a 9 to 5 for a couple months. And I would come home and I lived alone. This is where I really feel like I separated myself, where I would go home and I lived alone. I lived alone for the summer. So I would just grind. I grinded every single day, recording podcasts. We did like our own PPPs, player profile and projections. We recorded an episode of like every major Giants player the summer of 2019. We had episodes out every single day, including weekends. So we really grinded. We tried to make those videos and we tried to make those podcasts. We started to grow. I went home. I did some live streaming at training camp, and that was awesome. The engagement there was awesome. Bobby Skinner noticed me, and then I kind of came on the start of 2020 for Talking Giants John Boy Media, and it was a dream.
So this was your
really
first year.
True. Yeah, this past year was my first year with Bobby. So in a way, Talking Giants, I've been going this is my 1, 2, 3. I guess this is like my fourth year. I guess this is my fourth year doing Giants things.
Right.
It's my third year of doing it correctly. And this is Bobby's third year, but really in a way, we've only been together for one season.
Right.
But the both of us. So, and in a way, it is a dream come true, joining John Boy Media and joining Talking Giants, because this is why I started anyway. Bobby joined them as just like, they were talking to them. John Boy Media was still in very much its infancy, so he didn't even join when they were like big, like they are right now, before the YouTube channel blew up. So Bobby always likes to take credit, by the way.
Speaking of YouTube channel, I do have to ask you, because this is your first year, and this is also happens to be the first year that Talking Giants has a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Does that have anything to do with you, or was that Bobby?
Well, I'll tell you what. We're going down a bunch of rabbit holes. This is how my brain works. It just jumps from place to place. So it actually has a decent amount to do with Anthony Tomeno, which Anthony Tomeno was the fourth member of Talking Giants. He actually passed away last year, I believe June of 2020.
I think I've heard you guys talk about that.
Yes. So Anthony was somebody who I very much looked up to. And in terms of people that really pushed me to think that I can do this full time, this is not an irrational goal to eventually want to just talk about sports and talk about the Giants and create content as like for a living, and you can make a substantial, a decent living doing that. He was one of the people that pushed it, and he's like, yes, you can do it. I'm rooting for you. At one point he even told me, he's like, I will give you money if you need money to like get this started because I want. Yeah, he wanted me to do it. He wanted Bobby and I to do it. Like, he was our biggest cheerleader. So
That's
he
awesome,
actually,
man.
when we launched the Talking Giants YouTube channel, it was not Bobby and I. It was him. He was doing draft breakdowns. Um, so the Andrew Thomas, versus Kalavon Chasen video that has 15,000 views, that was Anthony Tomano. He put together those clips and he did the video with Bobby. A couple of the Isaiah Simmons breakdowns, that's Anthony Tomano. There was a
Now,
AJ
did you guys know him personally, or just through like the internet and podcast networking? Okay.
Through the internet, yeah, which is crazy because Bobby met Danny through the internet. I met Bobby through the internet.
Right.
I met Snacks, who's now the co-host of Bleeding Blue. I met Snacks through the internet. All these people that are now, and Anthony was one of our best friends too. All these people, we met through the internet, and they're not just like surface level relationships. They're not. They are like authentic, genuine relationships that we have with other people. Some, professional, but also those personal relationships too, which, which I know a lot of people like to say, well, social media, the internet, it's not it's just surface level, and it all matters in the way which you use it, but it does have the potential to, like, you can genuinely form great friends. I hang out with Snacks all the time. I talk to Snacks every single day. Co-host of Bleeding Blue. I mean, I talk to Bobby every single day, obviously, but I also talk to Snacks.
So the
every
hate
single
back
day.
and forth isn't real. You guys actually like each other?
Oh, we love each other. But yes, we absolutely love each other. But back to Anthony. He was the YouTube for a little while. Then he unfortunately he passed away very suddenly. It's the anniversary coming up in a couple months, so we're gonna try to do something for that. But then Bobby went full time in John Boy Media with Talking Giants. He went full time in September, so that's really when the YouTube channel started to really go. Because then he was able to do the O-line breakdowns. And again, that asking the question that I first asked to start off the show, what can you do as a content creator that separates yourself from everybody else? Nobody else was doing O-line breakdowns. Bobby Skinner started to do that, and that's really, like, that's why where we are today. And I feel like everything else is now benefiting off of Bobby's foundation, of which he set for those film breakdowns.
Well, that was a really long intro, but that's what this is about, right? That's what this is about. We come on here to talk and have a good time. You probably mentioned it a little bit. For the people who don't know, you're from New Jersey now, correct? You live not far from the Giants Stadium.
Oh no, yes.
Did you grow up there? You were born and raised, and so we've had some people on from different places. Both Hub and Tana are from New York City area. We got Bobby down in Florida, Diggy in DC. So give us some things that about New Jersey and East Rutherford area, wherever you live, that people might not know. Some interesting facts, some things you like about living there, some things you don't like. Just talk about where you're from and maybe some experiences as far as native to New Jersey.
Native to New Jersey. Well, I loved talking in code of Parkway exits, Parkway and Turnpike exits. Like, exit. I'm off of exit 135. Yeah, I know where that is. That's Clark Westfield. Yeah. Oh, I'm not really by the Parkway. I take the Turnpike. Oh, I would take exit 12 off the Turnpike. Yeah. That's the Carteret and Rollway exit. Yeah. So I love talking in code about that.
Okay.
I love the constant debates of Taylor Ham and pork roll. Constant debates.
Constant debates of what?
Taylor Ham and pork roll.
I am not aware of this.
See, no one else outside of New York or New Jersey knows about this.
Yeah, so enlighten me.
So basically, like breakfast ham. I don't even know what it's called outside of this. So ham that you like put on a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah. Like you go to McDonald's or something, you get an egg McMuffin. It's got the ham, egg, and cheese. Like that type of ham. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. In North Jersey, it's called Taylor ham. In South Jersey, like a bunch of frauds, they call it pork roll. Like a bunch of frauds. They're a bunch of frauds.
Okay.
So now, it's a big thing in New Jersey, and I can tell you're very confused.
Yes, I'm very confused because you literally at the beginning of this conversation referenced it as breakfast ham, right? Why not just say I put ham on my breakfast sandwich?
Do you hear how awkward it was for me to say breakfast ham? Taylor ham. Just flows much better. But you see, it is such a, you're not getting it, but the people that are watching this right now that do get it Like, Max, what do you mean? Or they're freaking out about me. Justin, it's pork roll, you jerk. Like, and they're calling me a fraud when they're the actual frauds if you call it
Right.
pork roll. So the whole debate is that it's actually, it says pork roll on the label, but I don't care what it says on the label. It's still Taylor ham. I don't care what anybody says.
All right. So
What else? I'll
yeah.
hear. So MetLife. How about we talk about Met? Can I talk about how this is unrelated? Can I talk about how MetLife Stadium is terrible?
Why is it terrible?
It has no character. I was ragging on it today, by the way. We were talking about how the World Cup is the final game of the World Cup. The most viewed and important sporting event in the entire world is going to be played at that god awful, colorless, lifeless sorry excuse for a stadium where it's you want to talk about 50 Shades of Grey. MetLife Stadium is 50 Shades of Grey. It's a personification of that, except there's no chains and whips involved. It's terrible.
So it's just expound on what you mean by that, because
it's
50
not
Shades of Grey.
Stadium.
You're talking colors, right?
Yes, because
okay.
the seats are like 50 Shades of Grey. Outside the stadium, it's gray. The only time it looks good is at night. Is at night when they can light it up blue. That's the only time it looks good. Only time.
I was extremely confused because although I'm a Giants fan, right? So my time in Arizona, I was stationed there. I lived 15 minutes away from the Cardinals Stadium. I ended up going there a couple times for concerts. The Giants actually came my first year there to play the Cardinals, and I looked at my wife. I was like, I'm going. And she said, no, you're not. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I want to go see the Giants. Well, we had 2 kids at the time. We had yet to have our third there. But at the time, we had 2 kids, and it was the only time the entire 3.5 years they came there. But it was on Christmas Eve, so she wouldn't let me go. I was like, this is the perfect Christmas gift. What do you mean? She's like, you're going to be here with me and our kids on Christmas Eve. I was like, you're such a party pooper. But with that said, I do plan on, because I know Chris is trying to get something going this year, tailgate, whatever. I do want to try to get to that as long as life will allow me to.
Yes.
depending on when it is. I would love to attend something like that and have that be my first NFL game.
Yeah, I think especially now, like post stemming off of the year that 2020 was, and things are still very difficult right now for a lot of people. Yeah. But stemming off of that, I think a lot of people will want to go, like, enjoy things, enjoy some of the more simpler things in life, which I am looking forward. I'm looking forward to that time where people will want to enjoy the simple things, including like going to a Giants game. But you're going to enjoy it and you're going to love it. So you've never gone to a Giants game. So you never went to a game in the old Giants Stadium.
I've never gone to any NFL game. I've been to
wow.
So when I graduated basic training, our basic training for the Air Force is in San Antonio, and they would let us stay out a little bit later with our family during the graduation week before coming back to the dorms. If they had certain events going on, so it was just a weekend worth of graduation. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we went to our follow-on tech school for our job. But they had an event. One of them was a Spurs game, and I didn't care about seeing the Spurs. I'm not a Spurs fan. I honestly have a hard time getting into basketball. That's just how I am. But it meant that I could stay out and hang out with my family a little bit longer because we were able to be a part of the event until we could stay out until the event was over. And so I've been to an NBA game. I've gone to New York City in high school for a school trip, and I've gone to 2 Yankees games. In Arizona, there was lots of spring training, like right around the corner from my house because they have a ton of fields out there. So I went to spring training for the LA Dodgers and stuff like that. But I've never been to an NFL game, so that's definitely on my bucket list. My wife, however, is an Eagles fan, so you know.
My God! Well, that's why she didn't let you go on Christmas Eve. What year?
Right?
Wait, what year was that? Was that 2011?
No, it was 2017, I think.
You didn't want to go to that game.
Yeah. Hey, it was still a Giants game. You know what I mean? And we still had Odell. We still had Odell at the time. It would have been exciting to at least see some play. We hadn't had Saquon yet, but talking about East Rutherford. Talking about the New York Giants, you know what time it is. We need to talk about this free agency a little bit. What do you think?
Let's talk Giants.
Okay, so I want to know, what is your favorite offseason move so far? Doesn't
Favorite
have to be a new player. It could be the restructure of Nate Solder that allowed some of this. It could be the extension of Leonard Williams that allowed some of this. Just your
Mhm.
favorite offseason move so far, singular.
You know what? I am gonna go just basic because I could go on and say, oh, Leonard Williams extension, because I've been a very big Leonard Williams fan, and when everybody else was ready to run him out of town, I was like, well, this guy's here, so we have no other choice. But also, he's a very good football player, and I did believe him in 2020 that he would have a pretty good season, that he would be worthy of a contract. So that's nevertheless. But Kenny Galladay just does change what we think of this football team, not just what we think of this offense. He does change what we think of this football team.
Yeah.
You know I'm not a big fan of Jason Garrett. I think everybody knows I'm not a big fan of Jason Garrett. And a bad offense does rely on wide receivers making contested catches. How many times did we see last year Darius Slayton needing to go up and make a play, or Daniel Jones needing to hit him perfectly in stride on a deep ball? How many
Yeah.
times did we need to see Golden Tate make a contested catch? Has his career, at least in 2019, it kind of was the case. But besides 2019, was Golden Tate's career ever based on contested catches? No, the
No.
dude's like 5'10", 5'11". So he's never really based on like those contested catches. He's always
Right.
been like the slot guy, the yards after catch guy. So Jason Garrett, his offense does rely on wide receivers going up and winning jump balls and winning and getting those contested catches, because that is really the only way that that his offense can consistently produce explosive plays. And the NFL is a league of producing explosive plays on the offensive side of the ball and preventing explosive plays on the defensive side of the ball. The Giants this year, the best thing that they were, the thing that they were best at was preventing the explosive pass play. They had like a top 10 defense. The Giants offense, the worst thing they were at this year was producing the explosive play, specifically through the air. And lo and behold, the Giants offense they were one of the worst in the National Football League. So
Right.
I hate to just simplify the game of football down in, that one stat. If you produce explosive plays through the pass game, you're going to have a good record. And if you don't do it on the other side of the spectrum, you're going to have a bad record. I hate to simplify it, but at least the 2020 Giants, the perfect dichotomy was there. Defense was good because of that reason. They prevented it. Offense was bad because they didn't produce it.
Right.
So Kenny Galladay changes all of that, because he was not just the best free agent wide receiver in this, in this year, but he was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL at going up and pinpointing those contested catches. If Daniel Jones is just going to throw him a jump ball, there's a good chance that Kenny Galladay is going to come down with it. Anytime Kenny Galladay was targeted 20 plus yards down the field, he averaged 40 yards a catch. So that's not just a big play. That's not just a big play, Max. We're talking about Kenny Galladay. If he catches a ball from 20 plus yards, that's taking you from, the 20 to the 1 yard line to taking you to midfield. We're talking about taking you from midfield into the red zone. That completely, it flips the script of the game.
In one play. Yeah.
In one play. And that is that is the NFL. You look at Aaron Rodgers, you look at Patrick Mahomes, you look at and even the Baltimore Ravens, you look at the teams that are most successful, they're producing explosive plays. And it doesn't matter if you're a run first team or a pass first team, they're producing plays that are moving the chains, they're producing plays that are flipping the game script. It doesn't have to be every drive, but Jason Garrett's philosophy of, I'm going to get 10 yards every 3 plays and have these 10, 11, 12, 13 plus play drives, it's just not sustainable. What is sustainable is if you can get, a 30-yard play, a 15-yard play, a 20-yard play consistently, that really does help in terms of putting points on the board for your offense.
So Kenny Galladay is your favorite offseason move so far?
Yeah, because that move does change it changes the entire team.
Is there any move that you haven't liked? Haven't liked enough to want to complain about? How about that?
Devontae Booker day one was one of those things where it's like, it was day one. And what the Giants did day one was give Austin Johnson a pretty healthy pay raise for playing like 25% of the snaps. And then they paid Devontae Booker, a backup running back, a decent chunk of change for 2 years. So that's a move where, we complained about day one, but then in retrospect, it's like, oh, we get Galladay, we get Jackson, uh we we get a lot of good low budget guys,
Yeah.
John Ross included. I call the defensive lineman from Minnesota, I call him Obi-Wan Kenobi because I can't say his name. So you're just gonna you're just gonna have to know who I'm talking about. But we made a lot of low budget, good value moves after the Devontae Booker, where now it's like, yeah, should they have maybe not done it? Sure, but am I gonna really get that upset about it? No, because we got Kenny Galladay and Jackson.
Ifedi Odenigbo.
Good for you. I can't do it. At this point, I refuse. At this point, I refuse to say it.
Yeah. When I first read it, I was like, what the heck? The only reason I know how to say it is because I think Bobby said it like that. And then when I watched the interview with him on the New York Giants YouTube channel, John Schmelk, I think, is the guy that's been doing all of them. He's the one who said Ifedi Odenigbo, and then you go back and you can watch like highlights where they're the announcers, and it's all Ifedi Odenigbo. So for you Giants fans out there who don't know how to pronounce it as well, that is what I believe is the proper way because of several sources.
Just say Obi-Wan Kenobi though. It'll be a lot more fun.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. Is he gonna be able to use the Force?
You want to know a fun fact? And Snacks gets on me all the time about this. I have never seen a single Star Wars movie.
Me either.
Whoa! We're friends. I've never seen The Godfather. No, I have seen The Godfather. Snacks would kill me if I said that. I've never seen Forrest Gump. Name me another classic movie.
That is Forrest Gump, man. That is like the classic of all classics, I think. At least of my generation. You know what I mean?
I've only seen like 3 movies. I've seen The Dark Knight. I've seen I love The Other Guys. I quote The Other Guys like all the time. And what's another one of my favorite movies? See, I can't even think of it because I'm not a very big movie person, or I'm a very niche movie person.
Have you seen The Gladiator with Russell Crowe?
No.
What about like 300?
Yes, I have seen that.
Okay.
I have seen 300. I think we like watched it in history class. It was very strange.
Really? Oh my gosh. All right. What about maybe like maybe an underrated move that people aren't talking about enough because of Kenny Galladay getting all this hype and now Adoree Jackson. I guess mine would probably be Adoree Jackson is getting a lot of hype, but he's my underrated move, not because people are underrating him, but because people are underrating the fact that Nate, like when that deal came out for Nate Solder, like it's essentially a 1 year, $3 million deal.
Yeah.
Like that man didn't have to do that.
No. Especially because
Leonard Williams
the amount of dead cap.
Yeah, and Leonard Williams taking 11 this year. I will say the way that they structured the contracts, right, so far this year, I was kind of shocked to find out that Adoree's going to be getting 16 mil year one. And I'm not sure how we're going to get that. Maybe you know more about the situation than I have read. But last I checked, we had like 1.9 mil in cap space, and we got to pay this man 16. So I'm convinced the cap isn't real. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm never gonna act like I know it. I pleaded the fifth like before free agency started. Like I don't know. You're not, at least not this year. You're never gonna hear me talk about the cap like I know what I'm talking about. But here's what I think, and I'm theorizing. Adoree Jackson gets 16 million year one because if he's hurt and if he continues to get injured this year, then that's less guaranteed money that's on the books in years 2 and 3, so they can possibly get out, which that's smart. Obviously you want to invest in Kenny Galladay. You want Kenny Galladay to be here for a couple years. You want Leonard Williams to be here for a couple years. But Adoree Jackson, a guy, who has arguably his injury was more concerning. His knee injury was more concerning than Kenny Galladay's hip injury. Kenny Galladay could have and he did come back throughout the 2020 season. So that part is that. In terms of this was breaking kind of just before we recorded. Kyle Rudolph has issues with his foot. So this is throwing a wrinkle into the plans because it's kind of common sense. We're not going to pay Kyle Rudolph $7 million to be a backup tight end. Like, let's not do that, right? So Evan Ingram has $6 million. Like if he's traded, Giants, that's $6 million that comes off the books in terms of the salary cap. His contract is guaranteed but it's zero dead cap. And I think it's just one of those things where the Giants just have to write a $6 million check to him since it's guaranteed, but it doesn't come off the cap. I heard that from somewhere. And I don't necessarily understand how that works. But again, nobody understands how the cap works. So depending on what happens with Kyle Rudolph, now either they save the money that was going to be on the books for Kyle Rudolph, because maybe let's just say the foot thing doesn't work out because he technically didn't sign yet. It was just like a deal that was agreed, in principle. Kyle Rudolph is going to sign the contract. He hasn't technically put pen to paper yet and signed the deal. So it's either his deal maybe comes off the books that creates more cap space, or Evan Ingram is traded, and then the $6 million is created through there too.
They can make some more moves. You think Ingram is going to get traded?
I tried to talk myself into both Kyle. I really did. I tried to talk myself into both Kyle Rudolph and Evan Ingram working, and it won't. It won't. For how much Rudolph is getting paid, and for how serviceable Caden Smith is as a tight end.
You don't want Kyle Rudolph?
No, I do.
Oh,
I do. I think he is a better tight end, and I'm talking about not athlete, not football player.
Right.
I'm just talking about better tight end, like a pure tight end. Kyle Rudolph is the best pure tight end on the roster. That's
absolutely.
So I would love for him to fit. I think he very much fits Jason Garrett and most offenses more than Evan Ingram does. It's just a shame that we could never get Evan Ingram to work. So,
but yeah, I guess at this point we'll kind of transition back into the life of Justin Penik. Learn a bit more about him. So obviously you got this interest into sports from somewhere. Is it just the way you were raised by your parents? Is your dad, family super into sports? Did you play sports as a kid? If so, what kind of sports? Just go ahead and tell us some facts about you as far as sports go and how you became the type of fan you are today.
Yeah, it was the old man. My father, who really got me into it. So I still am a big NASCAR fan. I have a Dale Jr. signed. It's a signed. You can't see it. It's a signed Dale Jr. helmet. That was like one of the first purchases I've ever made, like myself. We used to go to autograph shows, so that's where we got the Eli jersey at an autograph show. We didn't just buy the jersey signed. We got the jerseys ourselves, and we customized the framed jerseys with like the pictures, and then we sent it to this place in Pennsylvania. They framed it for us, made it look really nice. So we would go to these autograph shows, and I would meet all the players and stuff like that. It'd be a lot of fun. But he was a big Giants fan growing up. He was a big Dale Senior fan. So I loved going to football games. I loved going to NASCAR races. That's really, I am not as invested in sports if I'm not going to the games. Really, I am much more invested into NASCAR when I'm going to a couple races every year. I'm much more invested into the Giants now. I don't have a choice, right? I'm much more invested into the Giants. Like really, when I was away in college and I was only maybe going to 1 or 2 games a year, I was not super invested. Also because they were bad. They were bad in 2017, but even in 2016, I didn't feel the same attachment to the team because I was away at school and I wasn't going to every single game. Which started a little bit of a panic in my brain. It's like, am I the reason why the Giants have been so bad? I went away, and then the first year they won 11 games. No, but I started going to Giants games when the first season I started going was like 2007. One of my first games was actually week 17 against the Patriots. That's my favorite Giants game that I've ever been to. 38-35 loss. And that game taught me to appreciate just good football.
Yeah.
Sometimes I could care less whether the Giants win, whether the Giants lose, especially when I'm there. When I'm home, I want to see them win no matter what.
Right.
But when I'm at the game, just entertain me. Like I want to be entertained.
Makes sense.
If it's a good football game, and even if the Giants lose, it's like, you know what? I had a good time. It was nail biting, and the NFL most of the time is going to produce a good product, which is why it is the best sport on the planet. Most of the time, it's going to produce a good product. So
it's the only sport that I can get into on TV. Any other sport that I go to, I have to be there in person to even enjoy it. Like baseball, I love going to baseball games. I love going to baseball games with friends, but I can't sit down on my couch and put on a baseball game and enjoy it. Same thing with hockey, right? Hockey is one of the most fun sports to go to in person, but watching it on TV, I just fall asleep. But football, there's just something I don't know why, I can get into football on television.
Yep.
I never even played football. So like I played baseball. So if there's really any attachment to a sport, it's probably that one. But yeah, there's something about football that just watching on TV still engulfs my attention, especially with the New York Giants.
Yep.
I mean, I've always, not quite always, I've told the story how I became a Giants fan, but since supporting the Giants, I've always like followed them a bit. But really, like the last couple of years, when I started finding like YouTube content creators and people like you guys who talk about the Giants and keep the mindset even when there's no games going on, has definitely made me more of a fan of the team, especially, excuse me, with seeing the direction of the team. And but yeah, so did you ever play any sports growing up? Football, baseball, basketball? What'd you play?
I played football for a pretty long time. I did little league baseball, but I was I was recruited to St. Peter's Prep, which is one of the best schools in the country. I stopped playing after my freshman year. Football. I was okay. I was much better in shorts. I'm the best player that you're ever going to see in shorts. But I didn't have the mean streak. I really took pride in my technique. I really took pride in my agility. But then there came a point where I kind of tore a ligament in my thumb. I sprained an ankle in one season. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't have the mental
What
like.
did you play?
I was an offensive lineman,
Okay.
defensive line too, but mainly offensive line. But I was also a long snapper. That is, if there's one thing that I wish I maybe would have just stuck with, is long snapping. Because think about this: Zach Diassi had a very long, illustrious NFL. This may be a wild take. There's a chance Zach Diassi's in the Ring of Honor. There's a chance, very unlikely. There's probably more of a chance that he is not in the Ring of Honor than he is in the Ring of Honor. But really, he was here for a very long time, and he's a two-time Super Bowl champ. I could
Yeah.
maybe see it one day. So he had a long and illustrious career where he made millions and millions of dollars for snapping a football. Snapping a football. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. He was also a madman, and he ran down and he made some tackles. But
Right.
most long snappers don't do that. They're not madmen and they run down and they make tackles. I don't know if Casey Kreider's running down there making tackles, but Zach Diassi, long and illustrious career long snapping. So maybe if there's one regret, that and I was good at long snapping. I thought I put some zip on the ball, and my father made me do it for years because he said nobody else on the team is going to do this, so you're going to do it whether you like it or not. So I started snapping the ball. I was a center, but then I also became the long snapper. And then that just stuck with me throughout even a little bit of high school. So that's my one regret. I should have just told the coaching staff, I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna try in the offensive line. I'm not even gonna try to win a job. I am going to try to win the long snapper job. So I just want to stay on the team, hang out on the side, snap a couple balls, take a break, take a water break, watch everybody hit each other and work hard. Then I'm going to snap a few more balls to the kicker and the placeholder, and then call it a night. And sayonara, I won't even break a sweat. So that's kind of like where I started playing, but also in high school. So after I gotta pull up a picture. After I played football, especially now, the reason why I stopped playing is because like I said, I tore a ligament in my thumb. I sprained an ankle like in the same season, and I was like, I don't want to put my body through this. I don't want to. My mind's not right to get my body back in playing condition. So I decided to play rugby. Smart decision. I broke my nose.
Oh, jeez.
Looks a little different, right?
Yeah.
So I played rugby and made the smart decision. Let me go play rugby. Broke my nose. I saw that people were tearing their ACLs left and right. Not for me. Not for me. Did one season of that. Said I could do it. Put that on my resume. But then I picked up a bowling ball. The sport where you cannot get injured, and the sport that is it's very team centered, but it's also very individualistic. So
I was in a bowling league when I was younger, like super
yeah.
young. I actually got to the point where I was somewhat decent for a young kid. I averaged like 190.
That's good.
And I went bowling for the first time like 2 weeks ago, since in like the last 7 years, 8 years maybe. And the first game I bowled like a 70, and I was like, wow, what happened?
Did you still have the ball? Did you ever have a custom ball?
I did, but I don't anymore. It was a little 8-pound ball because I was like super young at the time.
Yeah. You ever you averaged 190 with an 8-pound ball?
Yes.
Wow. That's credit to you. Credit to you. Because really, I mean, people, those pins, there's 10 pins and they're heavy as hell. You know, and professionals they use 15 pound, 16 pound
Right.
ball. I throw a 15 pound ball. They throw 16 pound balls. You know, over 20 miles an hour, and you know sometimes pins. You know, it's all about pin action. You don't get the right pin action, everything won't go down. So it's very impressive. But I bowled in high school and I won a state sectional championship my senior year, and I never had the mean streak when I played football. I had the mean streak when I played bowling. I was an animal. I was an animal. I almost got to a fight with the kid because this one kid was talking shit our team was up by like 50 pins in the third match. This kid wouldn't stop running his mouth, and I said a bad word. I said, "Why don't you look at the effing scoreboard?" And I had one of those claw things, like you know how you see
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
older, like they were
Yep.
like a, so it helped me like hook the bowling ball. So if he would have came after me, I would have bopped him right in with the metal claw right in his freaking nose. I would have broke his nose just like my nose was broken.
So are you still competitive when it comes to bowling? Do you still bowl fairly frequently? And
Well, no, you want to know what? I stopped bowling when I really started podcasting. When I took podcasting very serious, I haven't bowled since March of 2019. I used to, now even after I graduated college, I bowled in some leagues and I did some summer leagues, and that would be like my outlet. So part of what I was saying towards the beginning of the show about like a creative outlet, you know, right now podcasting is no longer an outlet. It's a job. Like it's a
right.
job. I come home from my kind of my 7:15 to 4. That's what I'm calling, not my 9 to 5. At 7:15 to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I come home and then I do this. So, you know, this is no longer my outlet. So I'm currently kind of like searching for that creative outlet. And, you know, bowling used to be like that outlet. It's not creative, but it used to be an outlet. So now this summer I have to pick it back up again, because this is like, I'm currently in a phase where I'm like, I'm doing the same thing every day, and nothing's getting easier. It's like the off season is not the off season. It's free agency and the draft, and it's a nightmare. So this summer I'm gonna have to pick up a bowling ball again. Then that'll be like my outlet of some sorts, which everybody certainly does need.
You'll have to take your Twitter with you, because I see you putting on some dances up on Twitter. So we'll have we'll have to see the bowling when that happens.
I'll be sure to get a few shots in there.
But yeah, man. I think we are gonna go ahead and head into the rapid fire question portion.
Yes.
So this is just something I thought of after doing the episode with Bobby. So I didn't get the chance to do it with Bobby, so you can answer for all of Talking Giants.
Yes.
I started it with Diggy. Just kind of got a list of questions I'll run through. It's not anything super thought out, super long. It's just whenever the question is asked, whatever first comes to your mind, whatever the answer is, just fire it off and I'll move to the next question. If you want to go back and talk about your answers afterwards, we can go ahead and do that. But just whenever the question's asked, it's answer, next.
Yes.
And then we can go ahead and talk about your answers afterwards if you want.
Beautiful.
All right?
Yes.
All right, we'll start. What's your favorite board or card game?
Checkers. Not much of a board or card game. My family was boring.
Favorite cake?
Ice cream cake.
Besides your wallet and your phone, what's a must-have item on your person at all times?
Water. I always
Good
need
answer.
a bottle of water.
Good answer. All right, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. We talked about movies, but what's your favorite movie?
The Dark Knight. From
The Dark
start to
Knight.
finish. Beautiful.
All right, favorite musical artist?
We're going to have to come back to this one. Shania Twain.
Okay, Shania Twain, got it. Favorite subject in school? That wasn't lunch or playground.
Sociology.
All right.
Is that college? Should we do regular?
No, it's fine.
Good.
All right. What's your, or who, I should say, is your celebrity crush?
Well, Shania Twain. Besides Shania Twain, can I also say Joan Jett? I love Joan Jett.
Okay. All right. Favorite beverage? If you're old enough to drink, you can give me an alcoholic and a non-alcoholic. If you don't drink, just give me a non-alcoholic. Up to you.
Fun fact about me, I don't drink, but I love a good Coke and lemon.
Okay.
Has to have the lemon in it.
All right. We're coming back to a question I already asked. Favorite musical artist? What is it?
All right. Well, not only
you said Shania Twain, but
not only is Shania Twain my favorite musical artist, she's my favorite person in the entire world. I actually there's a picture of her on my wall. I have gone to Las Vegas to see this woman twice.
Uh-huh.
Right pre-Corolla, COVID, I call it Corolla, pre-Corolla in December of 2019, 2019. I went to see her in Las Vegas.
Okay.
She's wonderful. Um, she's a wonderful person. She's the best-selling female country artist of all time. Every single album that she has produced, it's different in its own right. She transformed country music. She has transformed my life. She has transformed my life. She's also a beautiful woman. It helps that she is a beautiful woman. Now I was asked by another content creator recently. I did like an 11 questions with El Jefe, Jeff Pilgrim of NY Giants Rush. He told me, like, would you give up like watching Giants football if I were to like marry Shania Twain? And I said no, because what happens if Shania Twain's not nice? Because then like my beautiful, perfect image of her is ruined, and I don't
Right.
want that. So in a way, I never want to meet her, because if she's ever not nice to me, then that will destroy me. I don't know what I don't know what I would do with myself. So Shania Twain is my favorite person in the entire world.
Okay, I got 3 more for you. You ready?
Yes.
Name a job you'd be really bad at.
Accountant. Terrible.
Okay. What's your biggest fear?
Tsunamis and tornadoes.
Okay. If you can, or well, what's your hidden talent?
What's my hidden talent?
Yeah.
I can spin a basketball or a football on my finger. I have a football nearby. Can I go get it? I'm gonna go
Absolutely.
get it.
Go ahead and
Okay.
get it. Show us your hidden talent. All right, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the episode. He's just going to get the football real quick, show you guys his hidden talent. Check it out. Kind of close it out here in a minute, probably. But yeah, I've had a blast. Justin's a great guy, and he's back. My
Okay.
guy, Justin.
All right. There's a good chance it may like knock over my camera, or I may break things. All right, but this is also on the spot. It may take me a few times, but I'm gonna do it. Oh, here we go. Got it. Ooh,
There it is.
Hold on. I'm gonna get it better. Hold on. I'm gonna give it one more try.
Yep.
One more try.
We're here.
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
There you go. It's good enough.
Perfect.
Good enough. It's much easier to do on a basketball. That's a deflated football. I usually can like put it on like my fingernail and like keep it there. But yeah, that is a secret talent. I'll do it with the bowling ball next. No.
All right. All right. Yeah. Is there any more you wanted to go expound on a little bit more from those?
I have a very, I get like anxious. I've been watching the show 911, Lone Star, and the regular 911. I'm like out of breath after that. And I have an irrational fear of tsunamis.
Okay.
Like I think I'm just gonna be caught in like not just like in the middle of the ocean. I think I'm just gonna be caught in like a random place, somewhat close to the ocean, because I am in New Jersey, and there's just gonna be a huge 20-foot tidal wave just coming over me, and I'm just gonna be like, I can't do anything. I just have to accept my fate. I'm irrationally scared of that. And tornadoes.
Tornadoes is a good one, man. I was stationed in Arkansas, and that's right in the middle of tornado belt. They get tornadoes through there all the time. There's a town outside of the Air Force Base where I was stationed at in Little Rock. I think it's called Valonia. I think that's it. Almost every year, right? They get a tornado that comes through and just rips the entire town apart. And then they spend the whole next year cleaning up and rebuilding it. And then again, the following year, it's just like, boom, tornado, Valonia's gone again. But yeah, so
but just
tornadoes,
like looking at it, like I don't know what I would freeze.
Yeah.
Like just there it is, and I would crap my pants. Terrible.
All right, man. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. If you want to go ahead and give your last thoughts, maybe shout out some things you'll have coming on Talking Giants in the near future, or some different things you guys are gonna be doing in the this coming season.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and give your last thoughts, and then we'll go ahead and close it out.
Yeah, we have some big plans for Talking Giants this season. We maybe want to do some things in person. Hopefully the world continues to improve and we can get Bobby Skinner up here. Maybe coming to doing some training camp stuff. We wanted to do stuff last year. We had all these things planned. Maybe want to do it this year. Really want to have a very involved training camp time, but also draft month. Draft month is going to be awesome. We're going to be going a couple times a week, just covering all these guys for draft month. We're going to be killing it on the YouTubes. Covering every single Giants draft pick. Luckily, we only have 6 draft picks this year instead of 10, so it'll be less work on us, but less entertainment overall. Maybe the Giants will trade Evan Ingram. We'll get a 7th pick. I don't know. We'll see. But we're gonna have a lot of fun talking Giants versus the world. It's a real thing. Max, thank you so much for having me on, brother.
Absolutely,
This
man.
was a lot
It's
of
been
fun.
a blast.
Thank you for letting me ramble. This is
Yeah.
almost better therapy for me than it is good content for you and good content for everybody else.
Well, I mean, that's what it's about, right? You're
Yeah.
getting this isn't just for the people watching, although I hope they enjoy it. It's always about the people coming on too, right? You guys, even Bobby said it. He gets tired of talking about the Giants sometimes, right?
Yeah.
He wants to talk about something different, and
Hmm.
I mean, you get that interaction with people in your day-to-day life, like at work. I'm sure you might mention the Giants if you work with other Giants fans. I'm sure you do, being in the East Rutherford area,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, other than that, like you're not coming on a platform or like devoting time to talk about yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's also for you content creators to come on and get a break. But I appreciate you joining me, man. It's been a blast. I haven't had any bad experience with a guest yet, and so I got to be thankful for that. You know, but yeah, all you Giants content creators, you're great people, and for the people out there who are listening to this and come to my podcast to learn about these people, um, they're great people on and off camera. So shout out to you and thank you for creating the content that you do. Like I said, prior to the last couple of years when I came to YouTube to look for these content creators and try to find stuff about the Giants, I didn't really think about the Giants in the offseason. I never paid attention to their free agency moves. I never looked at the draft and thought, oh, this is the prospect that they should get, or this is who we are going to take here based on these next moves. Like, it was always just, oh, football's over. Wait until September, you know?
Hmm.
So thank you for being a content creator to produce something, to keep us fans involved too. Especially like live shows and stuff like that. We get to come on and talk to you guys through the chat. It's always fun for everyone, and I know the people who listen to my podcast that I've talked to, they want me to do more lives. But yeah, I will plan on every couple of guests doing a live like I did with Diggy, Tana, and Hub. So if you and Bobby have time, when I get another guest or so on, we'll plan a live. We'll go live and allow the people to come watch live and ask you the questions that they might have for you. And if there is none, we'll talk life. We'll talk Giants, kind of just as a group. But
I
yeah,
love it.
man, it's been fun. I appreciate you joining me. And until next time, everybody, peace.